So welcome again. We're going to do a demo of BuzzSumo Pro. Basically, BuzzSumo Pro has 5 main features. Trending content, which can be used to keep track of what content online is gaining shares most quickly. Top content, which can help you learn which content has been most shared on a specific topic or from a domain or author that you're interested in. Influencers can give you a peek into people who are influential in a topic area and help you to understand how they're helping to amplify content. Content alerts are a really powerful way to keep track of mentions of a search term or to keep an eye on new posts from domains that you're interested in. And then content analysis and domain comparison reports take all of our data from the other databases and combine it to help make it most useful for you in your content strategy planning. If you're interested in graphs and charts, we have them and you're going to find them in the top content or in the report section. So let me just start with our trending content feature. This is actually the newest addition to BuzzSumo, and we're pretty excited about it. With this dashboard, we're tracking content as it's added to the internet to see how quickly it's gaining social shares. Each piece of content is evaluated with a trending score, and the trending score lets you know how quickly the content is being shared online. Basically, the scale is 0 on up, so the higher the score, the better. So you can use these scores to get an idea of what content is really growing popular. You can also use it to possibly find viral posts before they reach the peak of their popularity. In addition to the trending score, each listing also includes the total number of times the content has been shared and a breakdown of the number of times that it's been shared on the different social media networks. Now, we have some options to filter these results into shorter periods of time. So you can also look at what content is trending from the last 8 hours or 4 hours or 2 hours. What we're doing with these posts is taking content that has been published in the last 8 hours and showing you what's trending. So you can even get down to just really recent material and take a peek at content that's been posted in the last 2 hours and see how quickly it's gaining social shares. Now, our dashboard begins with all content, but we've also created some separate dashboards for things like politics or science or tech that people are interested in. So if you'd like to just look at tech content that's been posted in the last 2 hours, you can evaluate that and see how quickly it's gaining shares. And you can do that with these other sub-dashboards as well. It's really easy to share these dashboards with people. You can just copy the URL and send it to someone if you'd like them to see the content that you've found. And you can also use trending content to create RSS feeds. So if you're using those for social media curation or possibly in a website, you can create RSS feeds here. Another feature that's nice about trending content is that you can also use this dashboard to see the most shared content during the time frame that you're interested in. So if you'd like to see the most shared content during the last 24 hours, you just use this little button and toggle up to most shared, and we'll pull up the content that's gotten the most shares during your time frame. Now, in addition to the dashboards that we've set up, trending content also gives you an option to set up dashboards for topics that are of interest to you. There are 2 ways you can do it. To get started, you just click the plus sign, and you can create your own custom dashboard by creating a feed. You could just give it a name, possibly something like leadership, and then enter the topics that you'd like us to track for you. So I might enter something like leadership and leadership management. And you can also use this feed to track hashtags. So if you're following a certain hashtag that's related to your topic, you can enter that here too. Now, if you decide to enter a hashtag, just leave the hash mark off, but go ahead and write it like you would for a hashtag. Once you've added all those things, you just click Add Feed, and the next time you log on, your custom dashboard will be waiting here to show you the content that's trending in the topic that's of interest to you. You can also set up these custom dashboards through domains. So if there are domains that you're interested in knowing what content is gaining shares from, you can just enter a series of domains here, click Add Feed, and we'll let you know the content that's published at those sites as it begins to trend. For example, this is one that I've done for a publisher that shows content that's being published from their competitors. And so you can see here that we're just pulling in the content that is gaining shares most rapidly from these competitor websites. So that's a look at our trending feature. Next up is top content, and this is where a lot of people get started with BuzzSumo. Some of these features in top content are available for free, but I'm going to be demonstrating some of the features that are available at the pro level and in some of our other plans. So to get started, you would just type a topic that you're interested in, like SEO, and click search. And BuzzSumo is going to pull up a list for you of the most shared content on your topic. So as you can see, this is page one of almost 10,000 pages. So there is a lot of information available. We have some filters on the left-hand side of the dashboard that can help you narrow down these results to make them a little bit more useful for you. You can filter by date. So if you're interested in the most shared content over the last 24 hours, we can show that to you. That might be helpful if you are using BuzzSumo to curate social media content. You can also stretch out the time frame to the past year. If you are creating new content and you'd like to know what topics and ideas and headlines have really resonated with your audience over a longer period of time, you can just click the past year and we'll pull up the content that's gotten the most shares during that time frame. Another option with the date filter is the specific range setting. If you are working on a new piece of content and you know that it's going to be published during a certain time frame or maybe over a certain holiday, you can use the specific date range filter to find out what content was popular during that same time frame the previous year. So if I'm going to create a new piece of content about SEO and I know that it's going to run over the New Year's holiday, I can just set a specific range filter for the week of the New Year's holiday, click filter, and I'll have a list of the content that was most shared on my topic during the same time frame last year. And I can just scroll down through here and get an idea of the things that people were interested in sharing. Top 10 lists. Here is a post about stopping something. Here's something that you should do in the new year. Here's a goodbye, hello type headline. So these will give me some good ideas for content that I might want to consider as I prepare my new piece of content. Now, another filter that's available is this one for language. So if you only want articles in French or German, you can use this. If you want to screen out foreign languages from an English search, you can do that as well. Just make this English only. So the language filter is available, and we also have a country filter. This is very handy if you only want things that are being shared in a particular part of the world. I'm going to go ahead and reset my filters, and I'll show you how this works. If I want the content on SEO that's coming from domains with .au in the top level domain, I can just enter that there, and BuzzSumo will show me the most shared content on SEO from domains in Australia that have a top level domain marked .au. Now, another handy filter that is available on the left-hand side of your dashboard is this one to filter by the type of content you're interested in. If you're preparing a new article and you would only like to know the articles that have been most shared, you can just uncheck all the other kinds of content and we'll show you a list of the most shared articles. Or perhaps you're going to be creating a new infographic and you would like to see the most shared infographics. We can show you that. We have a whole section of our website devoted to influencer outreach, but I think there's an application here in top content as well. If you are looking for someone who has written a guest post or done an interview on the topic of SEO, you can filter for that content and we'll pull up a list for you of the most shared guest posts or the most shared interviews. So that can be kind of handy if you are looking for someone to write a guest post or you want to interview someone and you want to know going into it that their ideas are going to have some resonance with your audience. Now, once you have set up a search, there are a couple things you can do with it. You can save your searches. Just click Save Search here and give it a name. So this might be SEO guest posts. Click Save, and that search will be waiting for you the next time you log on to BuzzSumo on your top content dashboard here on the left-hand side. You can also export your search results to a CSV or Excel file, and you can create content alerts directly from your top content dashboard. I'm going to explain those a little bit more fully when we get to that section, but for now it's good just to know that you can create an alert from here. I'm going to go ahead and broaden out my filters so we have a larger data set to work with. And I wanted to show you some of the things that you can do with these articles outside of the dashboard. First of all, you can change the parameters of the information to sort for content that was more popular on an individual network. So if you're most interested in SEO content that was shared on LinkedIn, you can just change that up and we'll pull up a list of the most shared content on LinkedIn. You can do the same thing with Twitter, with Pinterest, or with Google+. So this could be helpful if you typically push your content out to one audience. If Pinterest is your main audience, then you can find what works best on that platform. So sometimes people ask, okay, what do I do with this list of content? They ask, how do you use this? So what I think is that our search results can help you create the best, most effective content for your particular topic area and network. Once you know what has worked well in the past, you can take those ideas, those content types, those formulas, or those headlines and improve on them. A couple of ways that you might be able to do that would be to make content more in depth or perhaps update the information. You could improve the visual content of a post or maybe even publish a contrary opinion. Then you can use BuzzSumo to find the same people who have shared or linked to the already popular content and reach out to them. Knowing what has worked in the past definitely saves you time in your content creation and makes your content more effective, more attractive, and ultimately more shareable. Now, you can also use these top content results for competitor intelligence. It's one thing to follow all that your competitors do online, but it's possibly an even better thing to know what's working for them in terms of social shares and get a glimpse into why. So you can use a top content search to see what content has been most shared from a domain. If you'd like to see the most shared content from a domain like BuzzFeed.com, you would just enter it into a top content search and click search. And we'll pull up a list for you of the most shared content from that domain. Now, another thing that's handy about these searches is in addition to seeing the content that has been most shared from a domain, you can also see the backlinks to a domain. So if you toggle away from the content tab to the backlinks tab, we'll pull up a list for you of all the different articles that have linked back to BuzzFeed. I thought I had one. Yeah, here's one that I did a little bit earlier. So this is showing you all the backlinks to BuzzFeed.com. You can scroll down and see if there's any overlap with the kind of content that you're producing, or if you think these might be a good fit to approach for links to your content as well. Each of these listings also gives you an idea of the social ripple, basically, of a good backlink. So this article, which links back to BuzzFeed, was shared a total of 228,000 times. I'm going to go ahead and toggle back to content. You can also use top content to look for a particular topic within a domain. So if you're interested in the most shared quiz on BuzzFeed, you can just combine the domain BuzzFeed with the word quiz and we'll pull up the most shared quiz for you. I like this search result because it really kind of shows you how to use this information. You'll see here that I think it's the top 8 quizzes all have basically the same kind of formula in the headline. The hardest Disney quiz you'll ever take, the hardest National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation quiz you'll ever take. So you can see that there was a successful formula here that gathered a lot of social shares, and BuzzFeed was able to continue using it and continue to get a lot of shares. Now, you can also use a top content search to search for more than one domain. So if you were interested in knowing the most shared content from websites like Moz or HubSpot or TrackMaven, you could just enter those domains into a top content search, separated by or in capitals, and click search. And we'll pull up a list for you of the most shared content from those domains. We recommend that you set up one of these domain searches for competitors or even just for the leading domains in your content area. Now, if you are new to a content area, perhaps you're working for a new client and you're just not sure which are the leading domains in the topic area, we can help you to find that information in our report section. There are a couple other advanced search options that you can use. For example, you can do exact phrase matches like this one for organic milk. If you have more than one word in your search term, go ahead and put it in quotation marks, so we'll do an exact phrase match for you. You can also screen topics out of topical searches. So if you're interested in organic milk, but you're not interested in cows, you can create a search like this for the search term organic milk, but exclude any results related to cows. And you can do the same thing by excluding topics from a domain search. So if I'm interested in the most shared content from Buffer app, but I don't want to know anything about SEO, I can just use the negative sign in SEO, and my search results will include the most shared content from Buffer app that's not related to SEO. Now, remember, for each of these, you can export your searches, create alerts, or save searches. I wanted to show you a little bit more about the information that we have available in the search results that we pull up. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to just a broad SEO search. And I wanted you to see that for each article, we give the title, where it was published, who wrote it, and when it was published. And then there are a couple of different bits of information that are available at the article level. You can click this, view backlinks, and you can see the links back to the specific article that you're interested in. So if you're going to be creating a piece of content that has a lot of overlap with this piece on PageRank, you might be interested to see the people who linked back to it. Then you could reach out to them to see if they might be interested in a backlink to your content as well. Another thing that you can do with these top content searches is you can see who shared specific articles on Twitter. As long as an article was shared more than about 20 times, we can show you who shared it on Twitter. So this pulls you right into our influencers search tab and gives you a list of all the people who shared this article in their Twitter feed. I'm going to go ahead and move on over to our influencers search page. Influencer searches can also be done by topic. So if you're looking for people who are influencers in the area of SEO, you can just enter that topic here and click search. What we do is we look at people's Twitter bios, their profiles, the keywords that they use in their bio and their profiles, and also the list that they've been added to. And using that information, we determine their relevance for the topics that you're interested in. And then we pull up a list of these influencers for you. Now, we also look a little bit at the level of influence they have on the topic, but we give you a great deal of control over those variables too, because you can control whether or not you sort the information just for the highest number of followers or the highest domain authority or the highest page authority. So once you've pulled up a list of influencers who are related to your topic area, there are a couple ways that you can get to know them a little bit better through BuzzSumo. There are 4 measures of influence. The first is page authority and domain authority. These are provided by Moz, and you can read a little bit more about their process there. We also give you the number of followers that this user has on Twitter, so you can evaluate how large their audience is. And then this column at the end, average retweets, is also a measure of authority. Average retweets is just the average number of retweets this Twitter user gets every time they tweet something. So for AJ, every time he tweets, he gets an average of 2.5 retweets. For SEO Book, the number is a little bit higher. Every time SEO Book tweets something, they get an average of 9.5 retweets. We generally consider anything over 2 to be influential. So those are the 4 measures of authority: page authority, domain authority, followers, and average retweets. The listings also give you 2 measures of responsiveness. The first is retweet ratio. The retweet ratio is the percentage of each user's tweets that are retweets from other sources, and reply ratio is the percentage of each user's tweets that are replies to other people on Twitter. So these 2 things together can kind of let you know how interested someone is in content that's coming from other sources. So what you're looking for in terms of an influencer outreach strategy is really that kind of magical combination of both authority on a topic and also responsiveness to content from other places. So you could scroll down through this list and see that, okay, AJ has a good many followers and a decent average retweet ratio, and he's also pretty responsive. He replies, 36% of his tweets are replies to other users. So he might be someone I would be interested in reaching out to see if he might want to know a little bit more about my content and help to amplify the kinds of content that I'm producing. I'd probably also be interested in SEO Book. They have a lot more followers. Their retweet ratio is a little bit higher. Their reply ratio is a little bit lower, but I'd probably be interested in them too. Once you've identified some people that you think might be good contacts or good people to begin a conversation with about your content, there are a couple ways that you can start that conversation, and also there's another way to get to know a little bit more about the type of content that they tweet. If you click this button, View Link Shared, we'll pull up a list for you of all the links that this Twitter user has shared. So this is everything that AJ has shared. So you can scroll down through that and see if there's some overlap with the kind of content that you're creating. You can also follow or unfollow someone directly from BuzzSumo, and you can tweet directly to people from BuzzSumo, or add these Twitter users to a Twitter list. And then you could use that list to target them for advertising or some other kind of outreach on Twitter. To use those Twitter features, all you have to do is authenticate your Twitter account with us. Now, there are a couple of filters that are available for influencers too. You can filter by type of influencer. So perhaps you're only interested in companies and journalists who are influential on the topic of SEO. You can just check those two boxes and we'll screen out the other kinds of influencers. Our filters give you the option too to ignore broadcasters. We consider anyone with a reply ratio of less than 4% to be a broadcaster, and that's an indicator that they're not likely to reply to a tweet. There's also a location filter available in our influencer search. So if you're preparing content that has a really specific geographic focus, you could use this location filter to find people on Twitter who are interested in the topic that you're interested in and in the location that you're interested in. Typically, city searches work better. So if you know what city you're interested in, you can just type that in here. Like perhaps I'm interested in Dallas, Texas. Click Filter, and BuzzSumo will bring me a list of influencers on the topic of SEO in Dallas. Now, another way you can use influencer searches is you can look for people who are influencers at a specific publication. So if you'd like to know people who are writing at Moz, you can pull up a list of those just by using the @ symbol and the name of the publication. And we'll create a list for you of everyone who has @Moz in their Twitter bio. So you can scroll down there and see if there's anyone that looks like they might be a good fit to begin a conversation about your content. One last thing that you can do with this influencer search, if you have created a list based on a topic and you'd like to know, okay, so what are people who are influential on the topic of SEO interested in sharing? You can use this All Links Shared button, and we'll create a list for you that looks like this. This is a list of all the links that have been shared by the top 10 influencers on your SEO influencer search. All right, so let's move over to content alerts. Content alerts are different from top content searches in a couple of important ways. First of all, top content searches look backward to content that's already been published. Content alerts look forward. They pull in mentions of your search term from the time you set the alert going forward. Top content searches are also tied to a number of social shares. Basically, it takes about 20 social shares for an article to land in our top content database. But content alerts don't have that same share threshold. With content alerts, we let you decide the number of shares that you're interested in. So if you're working in a real niche area that maybe doesn't generate as much sharing activity, a content alert might help you to find information that would be useful for you. The other key difference is that top content searches are based on the title and topic of the article, but content alerts drill down into the text of the article. So if you're interested in finding information about a topic that maybe doesn't grab as many headlines, a content alert might be really helpful for you. Now, we offer 4 different kinds of alerts. The first one is a keyword or brand alert. To set one of these, you would just give your alert a name, like I'll call this one BuzzSumo, and I'm going to set an alert for BuzzSumo webinars. So basically, I want to know anytime BuzzSumo webinars are mentioned. Since it's a 2-word search term, I'm going to put it in quotation marks. We have a list of our other advanced search options right here. So if you want to really tailor your alerts, you can do it and just click on here to see all the different ways that you can arrange the searches to get exactly the information that you're looking for. By default, my keyword alert is going to search the title, topic, and article text, but if I know that that's going to give me too much information, I can just toggle up and choose to only have the title and topic searched. Most people, though, if they're looking for their own brand, are going to want to have mentions wherever they occur. And you could always start like this, and then if you find you're getting way too much information, you could scale it back. You get to choose if you want the results compiled in real time or daily digest. If you choose daily digest, then just let us know what time you'd like to have those results compiled. There's a language filter available with keyword or brand alerts. And then this is that share threshold that I was talking about. If I'd like every mention of my search term, BuzzSumo webinars, I'll leave this at 0. But if I'm really only interested in mentions of my search term, once it's been shared a couple times, I can raise that threshold to 10 or even to 100. What that will do is pull in mentions of my search term, BuzzSumo webinars, in articles that have been shared 100 times. I'm going to go ahead and leave it at 0 for now. These can be emailed to you. If you'd like to have them emailed to yourself or to a colleague, just put the email address you want them sent to in this box. If you don't want them emailed to you, just click Create Keyword Alert, and we'll publish the alert here on the left-hand side of your dashboard, and you can see it the next time you log on. Here's one that I've had running for BuzzSumo for a little bit longer, and you can see that my keyword here is BuzzSumo, and I have this set for a minimum of 100 shares. When we find an article for you, this is the information we give you. We tell you the title of the article, where it was published, who wrote it, and then we show you where the mention occurred. So you'll see from this one that BuzzSumo was mentioned in the text of the article, not the headline. We also show you the total number of shares this article got, and we break out for you which networks it got the most shares on. Now, content alerts can be exported as well to CSV or Excel files, and you can also use them to create RSS feeds. So if you're using an RSS feed for social media curation, you can create it here and then pull it into a program like Feedly or If Then That, or you can pull these RSS feeds into your website if you would like. Now, the second kind of alert that we offer is a link alert. So if you'd like to know when someone is linking to your content or perhaps linking to a client's content or to a competitor's content, we can keep track of that and let you know when new links are set up. Basically, you just give the alert a name, and then you let us know the URL that you're interested in. Next, you set the scope of the search. So if you'd like to keep track of links to the exact URL, just toggle to that. You might want to use something like that if you have a new blog post or an ebook that you're really excited about and you want to know when someone links to it. You can broaden it out too and get links to any page on the subdomain or links to any page on the domain. Again, you have the option to choose between real-time and daily digest, and you have the option to have those results emailed to you or to a colleague. The third kind of alert that we offer is a domain alert. And these are a little bit different. We're not tracking mentions of domains here. What we're doing is we're actually tracking new posts from a domain. So you could use this to keep an eye on competitors' posts or possibly just to see what different thought leaders in your industry are publishing. You just give the alert a name and then enter the domains that you're interested in. One little tip for these is that with any plan that you choose on BuzzSumo, you're going to have a quota or a limit on the number of alerts you can set, but you can really stretch that out by including more than one domain in a domain alert. You can put up to 5 of them here, and you'll only be using one alert, but you'll be getting alerted to posts from several domains at once. Then let us know if you want these results in real time or daily digest. You can set a language filter, and then there's also a share threshold available here, and you can play with that a little bit. I've set one that I'll show you. This one is competitors publishing. And what I'm doing with this is I'm tracking 3 different domains, and I have a fairly low share threshold here of 20. For this content area, that's fairly low. And so with this one, I'm just kind of keeping track of what these domains are publishing. On the other hand, I have this one, Content Marketing Competitors Posts, and it's a little bit different. I have 4 domains that I'm watching, and I have a really high share threshold of 500. I like to think of this as kind of my good idea filter because basically what I'm doing here is I'm getting notified anytime my competitors have published content that has been shared 500 times. So this is giving me a pretty clear glimpse into what my competitors are doing that's really resonating with our audience. The fourth alert that we have is an author alert. Basically, it tracks new content by specific authors. If you're following people on Twitter, you probably don't need that. But if for some reason you don't want to follow someone on Twitter and you still want to know when they're publishing something, you can create an author alert for them here. Now, about reports. BuzzSumo Pro has 2 different report types that are available. The first is a content analysis report, and you can use this to really drill down into the sharing activity at a certain website. You could enter something like Moz here, or surrounding a certain topic like content marketing. Just enter the domain or the topic that you're interested in and click search, and we'll create a report for you that looks like this. These reports first show you the date range that the analysis covers. This one is for a year's worth of content. But if you're interested in a shorter period of time, like a month or a week, we can also create reports for you in shorter time increments. Content analysis reports show you the number of articles that we've analyzed, and they give you the total number of shares the content that we analyzed got. So for this content marketing, these 14,000 articles got just over 6 million shares. And we also give you the average number of shares. So this can be a helpful benchmark if you're producing content in this area and you'd like to know how your content stacks up with everyone else. You can compare your average shares to the average shares here on a content analysis report. Content analysis reports also show you average shares by network. So if you're new to a content area and you're not really sure, okay, when people talk about this on social media, what platform are they using? This chart can show you that. For content marketing, most of the social sharing takes place on Twitter, followed by LinkedIn, and then by Facebook. Content analysis reports also give you a glimpse into the kinds of content that people like to share. This chart, average shares by content type, gives you a measure of all the content, and then also a measure of the number of shares several subsets of content get. Basically, what we've done is we've broken out a couple kinds of posts: how-to articles, why posts, and what posts. They have headlines that begin with how to, why, and what. List posts have a number in the headline, and infographics and videos are identified by the URL. All content is everything here plus everything else. So it's kind of the benchmark for you. So what this is showing us is that in this topic area, content marketing, infographics, list posts, and how-to articles are shared more often than everything else. And videos are shared a lot less than all content together. So this can be really helpful in guiding a content strategy. You can see from this that you might want to focus your resources and your attention on infographics, lists, and how-to articles, and not so much on videos. Content analysis reports also give you some insight into the total shares by the date published. These really vary from topic area to topic area. If you were working on something like kitchen design or home remodeling, you might see the total date or the date shares numbers spike up on Friday or Saturday as people prepare for their weekend projects. These reports also give you average shares by content length. For content marketing, the most shared content is 2,000 to 3,000 words long, and the least shared is 0 to 1,000. So when you're planning your content, you're going to want to shoot for this 2,000 to 3,000 word count. The next chart is the one I mentioned earlier. If you are getting to know a topic or a content area and you're not sure what the most popular domains are in terms of social media shares, this chart can help you figure that out. This is showing us that for the topic content marketing, the most shared domains are Content Marketing Institute, Copyblogger, and Blog at HubSpot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 3 domains back to a top content search, enter them, and see what's the most shared content on the most popular domains in my content area. Content analysis reports also give you a couple of ideas on topics for content related to your search term. So you can take a look at these, see if they look like they would have some relevance to what you're doing, and then you can see the average number of shares those search terms get too. These reports also include top pieces of content for the search term. Now, these can be exported as well, but the export is a little bit different. You can export these as PDF or PNG files, and you can also export individual charts. You can print them, or you can export these different kinds of image files. That, I think, is a really handy feature because, sometimes when you need to talk with a stakeholder about a project you're working on, they may or may not be interested in a really detailed spreadsheet, but they would love to see a chart like this that can kind of explain to them really quickly why you're doing the things you're doing in your content marketing strategy. Our second kind of report is a domain comparison report, and you can set these up for 2 domains. You can set them up for domains and topics as well. So if you wanted to see the sharing activity on a website like TrackMaven and you're interested in SEO, you could just do TrackMaven SEO and compare that possibly to HubSpot SEO. Here's one that I set up earlier for Moz versus HubSpot. And you'll see the information. A lot of it is the same, but seeing it lined up side by side for 2 websites can be really helpful. You can compare average shares, and then you can also take a look at average shares by network. So if you look here at this chart, you'll see that Moz is doing well on Twitter, and so is HubSpot. But interestingly, HubSpot's next best network is LinkedIn, and they're doing comparatively a lot better on LinkedIn than Moz is. So if this is my website on the left and this is my competitor on the right, I'm going to go ahead and take this information back to a top content search for HubSpot.com, and then sort to see the most shared content on LinkedIn. And that'll give me an idea of what my competitor is doing on LinkedIn that's gathering social shares. And then I can factor those ideas into my content plan. You can make similar types of comparisons with this chart, average shares by content type. You can see that Moz is doing really well with their list posts. HubSpot is doing really well with their infographics. So, and if I'm looking at this and evaluating these 2 different domains, if I'm over here on the right and I see my infographics are doing well, but my list posts are not doing as well as my competitor, I'm going to go back to a top content search, enter my competitor's domain, and then I'm going to search for their list posts to see what they're doing that's getting so many social shares. Excuse me. These charts also show you total shares by date published, so you can compare those, and you can compare average shares by content length. Now, that's the end of the presentation. I wanted to let you know that if you have questions, you can reach me at susan@buzzsumo.com, and I'm happy to respond to any questions you have. I'm also just going to look now at the questions that people have asked during the webinar. So you're welcome to stick around while I answer the questions, and if you need to go, though, go ahead and just send me an email if there's something I can help you with. Thanks.